Welcome back to Coast Vue. I really enjoyed that conversation with Adele. She's such a terrific leader in this community. And then, now let's shift gears and move over to my friend, the mayor of the city of Pascagoula, Mayor Jay Willis. And I say this the last time we were together, Jay. We don't get together enough, but when we do, I really enjoy visiting with you. How you been?
I've been doing great. It's always a pleasure to visit with you as well, Ricky. Thank you for asking me on today.
Hey, listen, I had Paige on the last few days, Paige Roberts, this terrific leader from the Jackson County Chamber, and she said that you're a great ambassador for the flagship city, and she actually referred. She said that you were on the who's who pages of Pascagoula High, and now you're on the who's who of Pascagoula City Hall. But she went on to say that she trusted you as a dentist with her smile, and she also trusted you with her worship service. So y'all are connected in many different ways, aren't you?
Paige is an outstanding person and a great friend, absolutely. And yeah, I am a big cheerleader for the city of Pascagoula, and I will start this conversation as I do all conversations with anyone wanting to talk about Pascagoula, and letting you know that great things are happening in Pascagoula right now.
Yeah, listen, you don't get a chance to listen daily, but I often talk about Pascagoula on my show because when I talk about this collection of communities that make up coastal Mississippi, this thriving region. As Jerry St. Pé has said many times, and as I said in the One Coast Award keynote address this past year, that Jerry St. Pé said we can't get complacent. That we can't think that Ingalls and Chevron and the blue chip industries that are over at Stennis and the hospitality sector and all these bits and pieces. We can't assume they're always going to be there. We've got to always be strategic, and we can't be satisfied with the status quo either. We got to be focused on how do we raise the bar. I use Pascagoula regularly as an example of a city that gets it, that is moving to bring life back to the city in so many different ways. It's exciting to be part of a city that has so many partners focused on the same goal, isn't it?
It really is. And as I've said before, we're all rowing in the same direction in Pascagoula right now, something we haven't had continuously in the past, but it's so important. And as you say, Ricky, when things are going well and you're successful, it'd be easy to sit back and say, gosh, we're so blessed. This is great. Let's just enjoy it. But you've got to keep moving forward. You cannot assume that good things are going to continue to happen unless people are out there working on a daily basis. And I respect so much George Freeland and Mary Martha Henson and what they do for the economic powerhouse that Jackson County is, specifically Pascagoula. And they feel the same way. If they're not working hard to bring the future Ingalls shipbuildings and the Chevrons and the Halters and the Rolls-Royce plants into our community, we're not going to have the same successes that we have had to this point.
Yeah, their leadership of the Jackson County Economic Development Foundation has been incredible. I actually referred to the Jackson County Economic Development Foundation as a best practice in coastal Mississippi in the way that it is this public-private partnership where you've got elected officials and then industry CEOs and business CEOs engaged in that organization. They're so strategic, man. And by the way, I think one of the cool things about the most recent conversation we had is they have a clear understanding that certainly the sort of traditional economic development is still going to be important, especially when you have all these industries surrounding these, the shipbuilding and Chevron and other industries like that are part of Pascagoula. But there's also a new economy emerging, and this whole notion of downtown revitalization and mixed use and bringing people downtown, building the kind of communities where people want to live. They see that as a critical part of the overall strategic plan. It's great to have partners who think that way. Part of the thing about being strategic is you're constantly learning where the challenges and the opportunities are going forward over the next 10 or 20 years, and they are really focused in that way, aren't they?
They are, and the way we all see it is that you can't predict the future. We can't even know what type of businesses and industries are going to be looking at our community for a place to be for the future, but we can lay the groundwork and we can be prepared and strategic, as you said, in making that possibility there.
Think about Mayor Martha's experience in Washington and the connections she made and how all those dots connect. Whew. I mean, you're hitting on a lot of cylinders over there.
It's amazing. It truly is amazing. We feel blessed.
So when you're telling someone, okay, let's say someone's familiar with Pascagoula, someone is an important stakeholder to you, and they say, well, I'm not familiar that Pascagoula is doing revitalization. When you say that, what do you mean? What do you say to them?
I say that, for years we have seen other larger towns getting into full urban renewal. And what we're doing right now in Pascagoula is urban renewal. It's not said that way and may differ from some of the Chicago and Philadelphia and Baltimore urban renewal projects. But that's what we're doing. We're taking an entire area of town, moving on into other areas of towns once we finish this, and we are totally revitalizing community, everything about the town, the infrastructure, the availability of businesses and retail space and office space and those type things, which are so critical.
It is, and it takes a lot of folks working together. I mean, one of the things I talk about, and you and I have mentioned this in the past, as it relates to Page and the chamber, I'd say they're not your father's chamber anymore. They certainly do the traditional role, but the work that they do to focus on building better communities and grant writing and whatever else it takes to pull all the parties together, focused on making sure that developers and others have the advantage of every single possible program available to them so they can invest greatly in downtown. It takes a lot of folks working together to pull that kind of stuff off, doesn't it?
It does, and it takes money. And we are so blessed right now at this point in history to have money become available for Pascagoula to spend for those efforts. And the Pascagoula Redevelopment Authority is the guiding force for our downtown redevelopment. Again, another public-private partnership that's doing amazing things in converting the old downtown that has had very little investment for a long time.
It's great to see small businesses thriving downtown. It's great to see restaurants coming to downtown. It's great to see mixed use coming to fruition. When you drive around, tell me what you're thinking as you drive through downtown these days.
Well, it's not only the physical transformation of downtown, which we are seeing. It's the attitude and the optimism of what this downtown area is becoming and is going to be for the next generation. We are seeing great investment here. There is no available property that investors can come in right now in the downtown area with the intention of converting and rebuilding and renovating. Everything's been spoken for. It's just an amazing thing where we had property downtown that you couldn't give away 10 years ago.
I look at my friend Joe Cloyd, who is a big believer in downtown Pascagoula. He's a very close friend of mine. I'm excited about his vision. I had a wonderful, listen, if I have to say, if I go back in over 800 conversations in Coast Vue over the last 3 years, one that I had toward the end of last year was one of my favorite. I just have to tell you, it was one of my favorite. And you'll understand when I say who it was with, but it was with Abby Wills with Posies and Puddles, and what she's doing with her children's boutique and how she took this idea that was, she was working out of her house, and during the pandemic, she built this business based on customer service. I think from infants to 14-year-old, because she couldn't find the kind of clothing that was age appropriate for her kids. But the way she tells the story and the way she's focused on having a successful business, this monomaniac with a mission that has all the support from her family and all, that's a great story. I know it's not the only one, but it's just an awesome story.
It is an awesome story, and we have so many of those continuing to show up. I'm doing ribbon cuttings probably on a weekly basis for new businesses or relocating businesses. And it's so encouraging to hear the stories. We have a new bakery on Market Street that began in the incubator down at Anchor Square on the end of Delmas, where the city was totally supporting the rental cost of people wanting to start new businesses. Well, they matured, did well, and moved out into their own place on Market Street, and are going concern and have a wonderful product that people are just loving in Pascagoula. So many of those.
When we come back, Paige mentioned to me about Marina Project at Lowry Island. I want to get your thoughts on that. And then the World War II Heritage City. You mentioned it before, but it's a really big deal for the city. I want to come back and focus a little bit more specifically on that. We'll continue our conversation with Mayor Jay Willis from Pascagoula after this break. Welcome back to Coast Vue. I have my friend, the mayor of the city of Pascagoula, Jay Willis. He's among many mayors, by the way, in coastal Mississippi who had tremendous success in their lives. He had been a dentist. He had been, a business development guy for many years, and he decides he wants to be mayor of his city, and that describes many mayors along coastal Mississippi. And when you got a mayor that comes with a passion to make his city better, and they're not looking at becoming mayor as a promotion in life, but maybe a way to give back, it changes their perspective. And it really is an honor, isn't it, Jay?
Oh, absolutely. I'm quite honored to be serving the people of Pascagoula as their mayor.
Yeah, and you can certainly tell. Hey, so we're gonna talk about two things now. Tell me about the Marina Project at Lowry Island.
This is a project that has been talked about for a long time. In times past, that area out there was an industrial area with the original Menhaden processing plants and other marine activities. Most recently, it's been commercial fishermen out there, and it's a really unique little peninsula. It's not an island; it's a little peninsula off of the Highway 90 causeway between the Pascagoula High Rise and the Goche Bridge. And we believe it's just right for development. The most recent tenant out there was leasing the space from the city of Pascagoula, who has always leased it from the Secretary of State, and the Tidelands funds situation. But the plan and thought has been, we really need a municipal marina. We have a small area on Pascagoula Street called the Inner Harbor that has some recreational fishing spots, dock space, that's what I'm trying to say, but it's really limited. There are probably 8 or 10 spaces there. We really need something, and everybody else on the coast has a large, nice municipal marina. And thank goodness for, again, the available money and the grant money that comes through, the BP oil spill money and so many other Tidelands funds that are becoming available. We have about half of the cost of the project already covered, and we have other investors who want to be involved out there. And hopefully it's going to be happening within the next year, or at least we'll begin working toward moving ground in that direction.
Very familiar with the site. I love that site. It's easy to get to. It's protected from the front beach, and it's real easy access to get out offshore. Good luck with that. I think it makes so much sense. I can actually see shops and restaurants, and I mean this could be a vision that takes off for you.
Oh, I think so. We're looking at a marina with maybe 80 to 100 spaces. Dry storage. There already is a fuel station out there, and the possibility of a restaurant with outdoor venues and being right there on the water. It's a great place. And recently, the MDOT has put in an access road from the Ingalls access road that will lead right to that area without having to go underneath and around and convoluted ways to get there.
That's perfect. So tell me about the World War II Heritage City designation.
Oh, Ricky, we are so proud of that. It's only been a few weeks. The announcement was made, I think, December 6th by the Secretary of the Interior through the National Park Service. We had put an application in maybe a year ago, or at least many months, waiting for the opportunity to do this. Close friend of mine from high school, Martin Hegwood. I think you've had Martin on your show. He's an author, and he and I were contemporaries at Pascagoula High School. And he is now back in Pascagoula half-time, living here, and in Canton the other half. Martin came up with this idea watching CNN and saw Donald Trump going to Wilmington, Delaware, for the designation of the very first World War II heritage city in the United States. And he said, I'm going to learn more about this. So he researched it, and it occurred to him right away. They were talking about Pascagoula, Mississippi, with everything that had to do with the designation of World War II heritage city. They were wanting to name one city per state that had the most impact on the war effort, and also the city that was most transformed in that state by World War II. And we fit the bill. Everything about Pascagoula, from Ingalls Shipbuilding producing over 90 ships for the war effort, to our clothing mill, Jackson County Veneer. We called it the clothing mill that produced uniforms and textiles. It's an amazing opportunity for us, and we're thrilled that they saw the value in naming Pascagoula Mississippi's only World War II heritage city.
That is so awesome. And by the way, Martin Hegwood, the first Mississippian to win the William Faulkner Literary Competition.
Right.
I can't wait to read his book. The visit with him was just so dynamic and so interesting. And I look forward to having him back on again. So it's been great to catch up with you, Jay Willis.
So good. I thank you so much for your time, Ricky. Thank you for having me.
You bet. This has been the mayor of Pascagoula, Jay Willis. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.